There we go. Yay. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to SoulPet. It is Monday night and we are ready for another live stream. It is so good to see you guys here. Look at everybody already jumping on. A magnificent sales. Oh my God. Terry, right? No, I think that was amino acid trip. Remind me your name. It is so good to see you here. Thank you guys for all your questions already. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to SoulPet. This is Elaine, the Animal Reiki Lady, Animal Reiki Master, Animal Chaplain, Animal Medium, and this is the channel dedicated to helping people heal after pet loss. And you can tell just by reading the comments that we are so dedicated to our animal companions on the other side. Lots to share today. Something that came up about separation anxiety, and not the separation anxiety that we normally think of. I tried to find the picture of myself and one of my grand dogs, Dory, who in the earlier part of her life. She's a senior now. She went through some serious separation anxiety. I have a picture of her. She's a Kelpie, and she's wrapped around my neck. This big dog just wrapped around my neck with her paws here. Don't leave me, Grandma. Don't leave me. But that is one kind of separation anxiety. I'm talking about soul level separation anxiety. Some really good stuff to share with you guys. But first, rest of the introduction. I'll say hello to all of our channel members in just a moment and welcome everybody else. And if you aren't fond of like the whole live stream format and you want to scroll ahead 5 minutes, go right ahead. Just scoot right through this as we do some catch up. And let's see what else. Oh, because I normally like to go through all the questions from our channel members and then dive into our topic of not just soul level separation anxiety, but I have some ESP stuff to share. And for those of you, I was looking at a couple of comments real quick. I want to say Z and Kali talking about missing our physical companions. I'm going to share a story about a dog named Ronan and a dog named Rosie, Ronan Rosie reincarnation story that might, well, we are not ever going to stop missing them. I tell you all the time that I miss Jack. Jack had this, this mane of hair all around him, and I just miss that running, putting my fingers into that mane of hair and just absolutely loving on him. So there's not ever going to be a time when that feeling of missing their physical presence doesn't go away. But we can learn not just how to live with it, but how to understand why we are where we are now and how we can still reach out to them and how we can still be connected. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in here. First thing I want to say is I had the live event yesterday. So I had a live event for animal communication and animal Reiki at a little family farm called the Royal Roost. A huge success. Even though the weather here in Wisconsin, Dana, I saw your comment that it's freezing in New Zealand. On the other side of the world, it is winter. So Southern Hemisphere in Australia, New Zealand, it's wintertime, where here it's just turned summer. We had 90 degrees yesterday. In Wisconsin, doesn't happen. 90 degrees for my live event, but we made it work. And we had some beautiful trees and spent a lot of time thanking our trees for the beautiful shade and breeze that they gave us. And yeah, so the live event was yesterday. My animal Reiki and communication certification class is in full swing, so we're all set with that. So this coming week, I do have some time to catch my breath, which means I have a lot of videos that are readings for your animal companions that need to be edited and uploaded. So I can devote some time to that today and really this week and really catch my breath. And now that I've got those big events behind me. So let's see, what else, what do we want to talk about? Let's look at some questions. I'll say hello to everybody. We will look at some questions and then I'll tell you the story of Ronan and Rosie. Okay, start with Pat. Pat always jumping in with the questions. I love it. Thank you so much. Does your daughter also do Reiki, and how does she feel about your communication skills? Do you plan on teaching Reiki to your granddaughter? Let's do the granddaughter first. And I don't think I need to teach her anything because I've known, as we witnessed with Nana's kitty cat, that she absolutely already knows. She was born knowing, and not as a gift. I think we're all born with this innate connection to nature, also part of what we're going to talk about tonight, our connection to the natural world. And ooh, hang on a second. We are going to get a brutal thunderstorm. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's a lot of dark clouds out there. So we're going to get a heck of a thunderstorm. Okay, so I think she already knows how to. And my job is to not let her forget and not let her be unconditioned or reconditioned socially. That it's not a thing that we don't talk to animals. So I'm going to make sure that she keeps this up because she loves all animals. She loves every dog, every cat, every squirrel, every deer. She calls them deer doggies. They look like doggies to her, but we told her they were deer. So a little 2-year-old calls them deer doggies. She loves all of them, and she talks to all of them, and she has little sounds for each one. And rabbits go, and squirrels go. So she will always be talking to them. My daughter, it took a while for her to really lean into what I was doing, and now here comes the thunder. Craziness going on out there. Oh boy. I have a beautiful hanging plant out there. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it's okay. Sheltered, you are safe, secure. No wind is going to hurt you. No thunder, no lightning. So my daughter took a while for her to really believe in what I did. I think she instinctively knows that this is what I do and that I'm able to do it. And she calls on me to connect with her animals from time to time. She has 2 senior doggies, and then her fiance also has a senior doggie. It's going to be a situation at some point because they all are around between the age of 13 and 17. So we are, but so does she? I think she trusts Reiki more than communication, and that's okay. More and more people are starting to understand what communication is the way that I teach communication, which is not to have a conversation with our animal companions, but which is to be able to understand them in a way that allows us to know what they need, what they want, what our life together is supposed to be like. So there's that answer to that question. How can I know if my past pets and family members have met each other on the other side? Okay, because I'm just going to tell you that they have. But how can you know it? When you start to trust in everything, that if you even ask the question, you already know that answer, Pat. They're all. I've talked about my older brother who was not born, who is my little guardian angel. His name's Christopher. It was supposed to be my name. I did a meditation and understand that Christopher just didn't come through. And I feel him with all of my dogs. I feel my dad with all my dogs. I just feel it. And that's really what it comes down to. And I don't mean like it's a mystical thing. I feel it. I feel the heavens. And I mean, I do. But when you feel it in your heart, that you know that your animal companions are safe and loved and with people over there, including your higher self over there, the field that surrounds everything flows to, through, and around everything, including through the fabric of the whole universe. Can I prove it to you? I can't. I have no proof. I have no note that floated down from heaven that says, yes, I'm with my grandpa. I just feel it at my very core. And when it feels right, I've learned to trust my intuition. When something feels right, I know that it's true. And Lucy, more than anything, has also showed me that it's true. So, but how do you know? I would say just by closing your eyes and asking the question and trusting the first answer that you get. And that's how you know. How can we experience the quantum field? Pat, you are the quantum field. And I know you're asking that question on behalf of everyone and those who are not quite there yet. The quantum field, I like to do this blend of science and spirituality. I am deeply metaphysical and spiritual. And over the past 10 years, 12 years, I have done so much study and from quantum physics, like the scientific end of it, to a middle ground, to the truly metaphysical way. And you can go back eons, and there have always been people who talked about this field that we are all a part of. There's no space. We used to think that the space between me and the wall, the space between me and you, the space between you and the chair that you're sitting on was actually space, empty space. We now know that space is completely filled there. And look up Max Planck, who was one of the first people who was able to put it into words scientifically, Max Planck. And these little things are called now Plancks, and they're minuscule is not even the right word. There's no measuring them. They are so small, but that's the fabric of the universe. But it makes up everything. We all just vibrate at a different frequency. So my Plancks, if that's the way we want to refer to it. When I went to school, we were taught that the atom was the smallest thing. We know now that that's not the case. So my energy is vibrating in a way that creates this body that I am in, that creates this this body, my hair, my face, my eyes, my gender, the way that I digest my food, the way that I walk, the way everything is how my cells are organized. Other energy organizes itself in a way that creates this pretty little glass. It creates a man or a child. It creates a dog. It's just energy. It creates the trees. It's all energy organizing itself in a way that we perceive. And I'll real quick go down the rabbit hole with you. I have other things to go down the rabbit hole about, but we don't even know that what you see and what I see is the same thing. We've all agreed that something is called a tree. I look out my window and I see a tree. There is no way for us to know that what my eyes perceive is exactly what your eyes perceive. It could be that we are seeing totally different things, but we've all agreed that it's called a tree. So we've kind of organized things. As the energy organizes itself, we have called it things, we've labeled it, and this is what we have now. But it's all just energy vibrating at different speeds. And that includes the empty space all around us. If you've ever seen a mirage, by mirage, I'm talking about when you're driving down the highway and it's really hot on a black macadam road and you see that rippling across it. That's energy. Look at that. That's energy organizing itself in a certain way. And that is what the quantum field is. So how do we know that we're all a part of it? It comes from the connection. It comes from all the exercises that I try to teach you, all the meditations that I try to do with you guys, all of the little tips and tricks that I give you to try to connect with your animals who have crossed to the other side. That lets you know that you're connected in the field. And I have more to talk about that. So maybe we're going to come back to that as I talk about this, because I have some thoughts. I called it quantum thought. And here's where we can take it metaphysical. Here, no, it's too soon. I haven't gone to where I haven't brought you to that place yet, but all thoughts, everything is in that quantum field. So we're going to just put that on the back burner for a moment. We'll come back to it. Since Logan knew me so well, it just makes sense that he uses nature to connect 100%. We would always be outside on our deck or backyard, fenced backyard, always enjoyed watching him walk through his kingdom. He still walks through his kingdom. His kingdom is so perfect. His kingdom is so amazing. How is the band conversion coming along? Let's scroll right past that question. My van conversion has not gone anywhere yet, but it will. It will absolutely. I just have not. There's just been a lot of, you know what, life. And it's okay. Part of what we're going to talk about tonight is our to-do list and how the to-do list almost prevents us from being able to connect on the other side with other animals. So you haven't seen any more videos about the van conversion yet because I'm still kind of not all the way there at all. I bought a couple little things. I just haven't organized it yet. The Ho'oponopono. Oh, yeah. Thank you. That your animal companion shared Ho'oponopono to say that they're sorry that they left us in such a state. I'm scrolling down just to see if you posted your name anywhere so I can remember. Not that you have to at all, but okay, I lost my comments. Here we go. When my phone is slow, it keeps responding the same message. Oh, you didn't come up more than once, so don't worry about it. Just bought the book, The Physics of Consciousness in the Quantum Field, Minerals, Plants, Animals, and Human Souls. Okay, thank you, Kali. Haven't started, but I'm looking forward to it. That's the kind of thing. Pat, that's another way of knowing. There are lots of good books out there about this, and that sounds like a really good one, especially whenever it says minerals, plants, and animals, and the human soul. That's that's like right up my alley. But there are books written by both metaphysical as well as spiritual people who do a much better job of explaining how we prove that we're in the quantum field. I look to the scientist who I really like to listen to. I said his name before. I always butcher his name because it's foreign to me. Nassim Haramein. He's a good one. There's another one I wanted to bring to you guys too. Well, besides Greg Braden, who always does a really good job of explaining all kinds of things. Greg Braden does a great job of explaining the field, of explaining climate change, all kinds of good stuff. He's got a really good handle on things. So I'm going to get that book too. That sounds like a really good book, Kali. Why are some people more naturally connected with spirit? Is it a nature thing, or is it some other element? It's a little bit something else, Kali. We are all connected. We've just kind of lost our way. And I think that that is said without any judgment whatsoever, because I think we lose our way in order to find our way. I've said this many times. Imagine that you are the universe, the creator of all things. You know all things. So what a boring life to just be able to, there's a castle, boop, there's a, and so we create these little, we are part of that divine energy, and we create ourselves and format ourselves in this little energetic body so that we can re-experience what it's like to wake up, what it's like to be connected to nature. I've always felt very close to nature. I've always felt very close to animals, but I went through a whole period of my life, like from the age of 21 to 51. So that 30-year period of being in the rat race. And I mean that in every way, just totally in the rat race, going through my days on default, repeat, rinse and repeat, same stuff, commuting to work, picking up the kids, dropping the kids off at daycare, going to work, commuting, being stressed out, getting to work, having a boss that was I went through that for 30 years. And it wasn't until I woke up that I realized, oh, wait, I have forgotten how much I love trees. I've forgotten how much I love trees. I used to laugh at a commercial. There was a commercial on TV about a grandmotherly kind of lady, and she made the whole family in the van get out and start hugging a tree. And the husband and wife roll their eyes while they're all hugging the tree. Well, I swear that's me. I swear that's me now, because I remember now how connected I am to nature. So little by little, we are more and more people are recalling what our connection is. Some of us recall it sooner than others. Some of us recall it. Some of us dive in deep with it. Like when I remembered, it was like coming home. So that's all I do. But for others, it still takes a little bit of time. And then you have family and friends who look at you kind of crazy. And I don't care about that anymore. But some people are still kind of, they're still kind of quiet about it. But there's no person who is more connected than another. We're just differently connected, and we're at different stages of our journey. So honor whatever stage of the journey that you happen to be on. Do I have any advice on how to help me let go of the yearning for animal companion's physical body? We're going to talk about that. Feeling Gary and Potato. All right, we're going to talk about that. Look at everybody adding that book, Collie. Hi, Shirley. Good to see you from Texas. Dana, who is who's very cold down in New Zealand. I'd be curious what really cold is. And hello. 110 in Canada. Wow, Kali, that's amazing. It was 90 here today, so that was pretty good. I mean, like, I had a pool day. This is my granddaughter and I went to the pool. Ella, it's great to see you. Kathy H and Kathy R, great to have my Kathys here. And Caroline, good to see you as always. Donna, welcome back. We've missed you the past couple weeks. It's good to have you here. Not sure where in Wisconsin we're located, but a few severe thunderstorm warnings north of Milwaukee. Yeah, that's I am a little bit west of Milwaukee. I'm west of Milwaukee by about 45 minutes to an hour. So yeah, I can see the storm moving in. I'm just peeking out my blinds here, and yeah, it's good. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a big one. Let's just see if I can fix this a little bit. Oh boy, I really do have swim hair, don't I? Oh well, yeah, is what it is. Daughter trusts communication, but thinks Reiki is wild, and I'm getting weird. I think more and more people are also kind of shifting about Reiki too. I have a very, very good friend who, the one who called me wackadoodle, if you guys remember that, I shared it ages ago, said to me, you've gone completely wackadoodle, right? And I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, but if you're meaning that as an insult, I take it as a compliment. And then little by little has started sending me all the videos they keep finding on Reiki, like it keeps popping up for him. He's like, so this is real, isn't it? Yeah, yes, it is real. When places like the Mayo Clinic, now it used to be, I had a list of 14 hospitals. When I first started practicing Reiki a dozen years ago, I had a list of 14 hospitals that had in some way or another incorporated it into their holistic care for patients, specifically terminally ill patients. That's what they mostly included it. Now, there are hospitals all over the place who are actively looking for Reiki practitioners to come in and work with their patients. Because what it's about, when I explain Reiki now to people, I don't use all the hairy fairy terms that I normally use. There are things that really metaphysically describe Reiki, but at its core, it reduces stress, and it's the stress that's related to illness and injury and overwhelm. So if we can find a way just to kind of rebalance ourselves, even if it's for a few minutes at a time, that's what I tell people that Reiki does. So that's funny that, but believes in the animal communication. That's just hilarious. About 5 minutes ago, I was wondering about what would be a good book to read. There you go. Okay, so thanks for adding to our book list, Kali. We appreciate it. Could also be Hail. Thank you. Yeah, you could. You keep it on the radar for me. That's fantastic. I laughed and I moved my mouse. Okay, Pat, you are more than welcome. And if I'm never answering a question fully, you just let me know. And if I truly don't know an answer, like how to prove it to you, I will also share that. I don't know, but I'll do the homework on it. Like I'll buy that quantum book. Happy you managed to connect with my cat who is still here in the physical. Yep. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight too. I'm going to give you a little taste of animal communication. She replied, but I can't tell what. Okay, we'll talk about that. I will come back to your question, Mark. And hey, Cheryl, how you doing? Holy cannoli. Holy cannoli. Well, we're glad you're here. Sherry, it is great to see you. Jody, awesome to have you here also. Stacy, how you doing? Yeah, I missed you the past couple weeks. Yeah, Stacy, who is right now, you've been through the same weather that I have. Waukesha is not far from where I am. Any update on Kimmy Cat? Nothing. I haven't heard anything from Kimmy Cat. Let me, I will reach out to her. Let me write her name down in my notes. I haven't heard from Kimmy Cat in a long time. Nope, not since the last time I reached out. Okay, everybody, we're all about the weather. Some friends think that I'm weird. You know what, Dana? My husband still thinks that I'm weird. I'll teach a class and he'll say to me, now, what's that class about again? Or if he listens, like, because he's on the other side here, if he hears this conversation, he'll go, tell me what you do on Monday nights. So he's not quite there yet, but I think it sinks in subconsciously. I really do think it sinks in subconsciously. Linda, it's good to see you. So let's go back up here because I saw a question from Mark. What are your thoughts on cremation? My thoughts on cremation, I worked for a pet funeral home and it was primarily a pet crematory. So I have worked in that industry for many years. After I walked away from my corporate job, who knew? I would have never guessed that I would end up working for a pet funeral home. I'm personally fine with it. Like I personally have no problems with cremation of the physical body. I prefer natural. I would prefer to be able to place my animal companion in a place where they can become part of the earth again. When I was in Colorado, and this is in many places, it's not legal. If you own your own piece of property, which I did, but I knew we weren't going to be staying there, so I could not. I didn't want to leave them there, even though I know that they are not part of their physical body. So I went back and forth, and I did end up going with cremation for Jack, Lucy, and Winston. And I am now taking the remains. It'll be this Saturday, guys. This Saturday, I'm taking Jack and Lucy's remains to their favorite little dog park here down in Waukesha. They had a dog park that they absolutely loved. We lived there for almost all their whole life before we moved to Colorado, and they had this favorite dog park. And I know that that's where they like run free is in that park. So I'm bringing their remains. It's a wooded area down by a creek. It's really, really beautiful. So I have no problems with cremation, and I know that their energy, their soul, their spirit is no longer part of that body. It's with me. But if there was something else specific that you wanted to know about cremation, please ask me, because I became a self-taught expert on everything about it. So I'm more than happy to explain to you anything that goes on with that process. Who did I miss? I said hello to Stacy. I said hello to Jody. Phoebe decided on 7:55 for a Reiki practice. Oh, that's right, because you're on the East Coast. Elaine, are you going to keep some of their ashes with you? Oh, yeah. So I've got, this is their little urn full of all their remains right here. And then I have a different with 3 separate. So this is them all together. I put all of them together. They were always together. All 3 of them were always together. So they are together here. And but I do have them separately in a little container that I'm going to take with me down to the dog park. Can past trauma be released? Linda's question, that's what I missed. Can past trauma be released in pets to reduce anxiety? 100%. That is one of the main reasons that I love to do Reiki with animal companions, especially those who've been traumatized. Any pet who has had trauma, like Gypsy. Gypsy went through trauma, not only physical, so my dog Gypsy, who is blind, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her story in a second because it really applies. I'm going to ask you to take a perspective from a dog who has no eyes. So she was traumatized when she was born. She was traumatized by the family she was with. She was traumatized by the dog that they let injure her. She was traumatized by the surgery. She was traumatized by the transport in a van, in a kennel, not being able to see, 2 days on the road, so she went through some trauma, and we just shared Reiki all the time. And now she loves it. It's 4 years she's been with me. 4 years? Yep, 2021. 4 years she's been with me, and she will come to me in the morning. Usually it's about the same time every morning. I have this little Chase lounge over here. She pops up on the lounge. She gives me a look, like her ears kind of go funny. And she gives me this soft, really soft-eyed look that says, I'm ready. And I go sit with her, and she gets a whole Reiki session on her head, on her whole body. She'll move herself where she needs me to go. And I have found that it released almost all the trauma. On occasion, I think she still has a nightmare. And she is occasionally upset. Big trucks used to upset her all the time. It has to be like the biggest, loudest muffler, broken garbage truck for her to get upset anymore by trucks. But yes, it can absolutely reduce, it can heal the trauma and reduce any anxiety they're going through. Yeah, Sharon, here's what I'm going to say. When I share that story of Gypsy, and it does make people's heart hurt. I've been through some animal things. I've been part of some animal things, including having to work with a circus it was only for a day, but I did. Things that really like broke my heart into pieces. But when it comes to things like that, I know that animals are on their own journey, and Gypsy was on a journey to me. I didn't even know she was coming to me, but Gypsy was on a journey to come to me. And that journey that she went through and the way that she healed from it was also healing for me. And I've mentioned this before too, when our animal companions cross, even though they've left us, and that even though they're still with us energetically and spiritually, they taught us something. And we may not always know exactly what the lesson was, but I know part of what it was for me. And that was how to be a better companion and a better caretaker and a better custodian, a better partner for Gypsy. I'm doing things completely different with Gypsy than I did with Jack and Lucy. And Jack and Lucy lived amazing lives, but part of that life was during my corporate control thing. And when I talk about this in a minute, you'll see exactly what I mean, because many of us are still there, overwhelmed, stressed, over committed, all that prevent us from being fully there for our animal companions. All right, one more question, then we're going to get to our topic. Ask a friend to separate some. It was so hard keeping some of Gary's ashes out. Seeing them, I bawled my eyes out. Oh, you know what? If I am Indeed, then there was me. Never heard of that. Think I want that instead if it's possible for me. Okay, hold on. I'm going to back up. I want my ashes to be mixed with Gary's. Then I want us to be put in a bio urn and a tree grown from us. If you don't even know what that is, Mark, you can, if you literally do a real will, like you'd have to go have it drawn up legally, you can put it in there that's what your wishes are, and it has to be followed. If I say executor of estate as if we're all like multimillionaires, but it doesn't matter how large your estate is, your spiritual estate counts. You can stipulate what you want to be, but that is a beautiful way to have our remains together. But I just know that I'll be with them energetically, so I'm not as concerned about that. I would like to just walk off into the woods when I want to know that it's my time to go, and I just want to walk off and naturally go back into the earth, like have my body just naturally return to the earth. I put it out there. We'll see. Hopefully it lasts for like 30 or 40 more years, but okay, here we go. Crying right now thinking about it. Oh, Cheryl, I'm sorry. I intend to get bio urns for all my animal companions and family. Okay. I'm going to look into the bio urn. I can't say that I've heard. No, I have heard of the bio urns before. The bio urn. We had a bio urn. It was just right before I left and when I moved, there was one move that took me away from the crematory. We did have a bio urn. It was very, very pretty, but it was completely biodegradable. I forgot all about that. So thank you for reminding me. Okay, here we go. A tree seed in. Okay, we're gonna. I'll let you guys talk amongst yourselves. Well, I tell you the story of Ronan and Rosie. Yesterday, this story came up at the animal communication class. One of the participants shared the story of her dog Ronan, her dog who has crossed to the other side, Ronan, and her dog Rosie. And it's a story of reincarnation, and it is a story of how, if we just be open to the possibility that even if we don't have the exact physical body of our animal companion that we had before with us, they are very capable of still being with us in the physical. So this woman was telling me that her dog Ronan passed away unexpectedly. She was away on vacation. She was in Arizona. She got the call that her dog, who was a senior dog, had passed away, Ronan. So Ronan passed away, and let's just say this was a month ago. Like, it was really, really recent. So let's say it was a month ago. Ronan crossed, and it was her soulmate. So just like Gary, just like Potato, just like my Jack or my Lucy, any of our animal companions, she was bereft, absolutely bereft. And she didn't know what she was going to do without Ronan. And then the guilt sets in because she was away on vacation. She wasn't at home, so she wasn't with him. All the things that we've all talked about here many times. She goes through the whole gamut of those emotions. She's still away. She was away for I want to say like the month. So maybe I'm getting my timelines mixed up a little bit, but it was in very recent history. So if she was away for a month, 2 months ago, it's been a month that she now has another dog named Rosie. But so she comes home. Her daughter, in an attempt to help her make her feel better, her adult daughter, kind of tricked her and took her to said she was going to do a transport of a dog, and took her down to a city down in Kansas somewhere. They pick up a golden retriever, and she asked her mom just to sit with the golden retriever. Now, I personally I would not ever do anything without anybody's permission. That's not the point of the story. So anyway, there's the whole ride back from wherever they are in Kansas or someplace to here. The golden retriever is sitting on this person's lap, and of course they fell in love. They just fell in love. And she said, so I went through then the betrayal thing, like, because it was only a month. Am I betraying Ronan? And this doggy's name is Rosie. Am I betraying Ronan by bringing Rosie into my home? I didn't think I was ready for another dog. I said I was not going to have another dog. And here I am bringing, less than a month later, Rosie into my home. Rosie is also traumatized. She had abuse from her family. She had, I could give you the list of things that Rosie had. So Rosie is afraid of everything. She's afraid of other dogs. She's afraid of all people. And she won't let anybody touch her except this woman. So that's why they sat together in the back of the car. They went into the house, and she said Rosie right away jumped into bed with her that night to sleep in the same spot that Ronan always slept. And when she contacted the rescue, they said that there's no explanation for why she would even want to sleep with you. She should be petrified of you. And so she asked me, do you think it was Ronan showing up for me through Rosie? The answer is yes. Again, like Pat's question, if you ask the question, you already know the answer. You're just looking for somebody to validate it for you. Ronan came into, and it wasn't rebirth. Reincarnation is different than rebirth. It wasn't a rebirth. Ronan, with Rosie's full cooperation, came back to her person, and came back in the form of Rosie. And Rosie now does things just like Gypsy. Rosie does things that are so reminiscent of Ronan. So that is one thing that we should be open to. Now, I am not saying that it's time for you to go out and get another animal companion if you're not there yet. I'm not saying that you're going to miss your opportunity because you aren't taking you aren't going and getting another pet and letting them show you that they're the reincarnation of your past animal companion. I'm just letting you know, be open to the possibility. And I hear more and more stories about animal companions, new animal companions who are, I don't know the word, not joined, who are sharing their energetic space with their human companion. So I think it's 100% possible. And I only gave you the short version of Ronan and Rosie. I am so convinced that Rosie and Ronan are together now, and that Ronan came back, and that there's no need to feel for her to feel betrayal, like she was betraying her love for Ronan by immediately going into a relationship with a new dog. Um, And Earl has the exact same markings on his face as Gary, right? I didn't notice it for the first week. If we just be open to that possibility, we'll start to see it. We will absolutely start to see it. I just realized if I rearrange the letters of my new puppy's name, Earl Grey, it spells real Gary. Oh boy. You're making my point for me, Collie. You're making my point for me. I want to talk about separation anxiety. It's a little bit about separation anxiety and that it's not what you think. And it's also about ESP and pets. ESP, as we have called it, would be extrasensory perception. I am going to ask you to use a new form of extrasensory perception. And I'm not talking about psychic ability. I'm not talking about me being able to make the pen spin in the air or a penny slide up the wall, or I'm talking about extrasensory perception, using all of your sexes, all of your senses in a way that allows you to see, hear, feel, taste, anything, touch, the energetic connection with your animal companion, whether they're here in the physical or on the other side, and with wildlife, and if you choose to, with trees, with the air, with sunshine, with water. Here's what we're going to talk about. So we think of separation anxiety, as I mentioned with my little dog, my little grand dog Dory. Separation anxiety, we can usually think about it as when we're leaving home and we're leaving behind our dog. I don't know if cats, somebody who's a cat person, tell me. I'm sorry, I just saw Stacy's comment about putting your parents' cat in your mom's urn. Wasn't supposed to, but no one knew. Okay, so that, yeah, right? Nobody has to know sometimes. All right, where was I? If anybody who is a cat parent can tell me whether or not cats go through anxiety, if there's any kind of separation anxiety if you relieved a cat at home. But for dogs, so I had Dory. Dory she had separation anxiety when you leave the house. She would just, and if you left anything out that could possibly be chewed up, she would chew it up. She'd destroy it because of and that was the way that she relieved herself of the stress of the separation anxiety. That's what we typically think about. But what I'm suggesting is that the real disconnection may be on our side. The disconnect may be on our side. When we talk about that traditional sense of separation anxiety, when we leave the house, when we depart from our animal companions, and they act out in a way that lets us know that whether they howl all night long, or they chew something, or they destroy things, they tear apart the kitchen, whatever it might be, part of that, I think, is our separation anxiety being reflected through them. We are the ones, when we walk out the door to go someplace, that are really feeling the separation from them, but they're the ones who are displaying the behavior. So I've often thought, I do think that when it comes to separation anxiety, that it's as much us as it is our animal companions. I'm taking it one step further, though. We are in a world that we move too fast. We just move too fast. We have never-ending to-do lists. We have deadlines. We have distractions, right? We have distractions. How many times now? There was a time, it was back in I want to say it was the early 90s. My husband and I were walking down the street, and there was a guy on a phone. Now, and these were like the cell phones were like this big. He's got this big honking thing on the side of his head, and he's talking. And we were like, I hope we never get to that place. I hope that that person needs to get a life. I hope that we never get to that place. And here we all are carrying these contraptions around with us that give us alarms, that have apps, that give us notifications on for every single thing that you can possibly think of. Um, and we live in a distracted world. And what that does is separate us from our natural connection to nature. It's for our natural connection to nature, to animals, to stillness, to quietness, to ease and peace and calm. We're so far removed from that. And that disconnection, it's not just stress, that level of disconnection that we have created in this busy world is soul level separation anxiety. And it's not about separation anxiety from our animal companion, it's separation anxiety from us, from our own natural connection to everything, from our own souls, from our own higher self. Um, I think that it's also reflected in the animals who share our lives. I think some of that separation anxiety is also them feeling that soul level disconnect, especially the animals that share our home, and dogs and cats in particular. They are so in tune, they're so attuned to our state of mind that they reflect that back to us. When we are stressed, they are stressed. And when we feel disconnected or separation anxiety at the soul level, they feel it also. I think it's both. And I think that if we can find a way to try to start healing that, the relationship changes with our animal companions. And when we can become a better partner for them over the course of their life, a better custodian and guardian and caregiver, then when it does come time for them to cross to the other side, it becomes a natural flow of our relationship. So instead of feeling even more loss, instead of feeling even more separation from them, because now they're as separated as they can be from us physically, it becomes a natural flow, and that we feel instantly their energetic presence with us. There isn't going to be that feeling of separation because we have not we we've closed the gap. We have bridged that gap of separateness when we can learn how to live in that space. Easier said than done. I practice this every single day, and still I find myself in times of stress. I I set out an intention every single day that I am going to try and enjoy every moment. I'm going to say hello to every tree. I'm going to say hello to every plant, every ant, every animal that I see, the sky, the air. I'm just going to try to appreciate it as best I can every single day. But still, I find myself in stressed out moments. Things happen. I get an unexpected invoice in the mail. I get a phone call from a family member who's in distress. I get all besides the fact that I walked away from the corporate end of it, which many of us don't have the choice to do. I walked away from the corporate end of it, which was more stress than I can even ever imagine putting myself into again. I still find myself in that space. So it's about practicing, and it's about doing the best we can every single day. But I'm going to try right now to show you guys and share with you how you can start doing something every single day to connect with the animals in your home right now, the ones who share your home and the ones who have shared your home that are now with you energetically. So, our pets. I'm just looking at my notes real quick. Our pets, especially those who've crossed to the other side, they are very patient and they are just waiting, not just for our grief to ease, but um, for our awareness to return. That's a really good word, for our awareness to return. Not so much that we have to remember or recall, but we have to become aware again that we are totally connected, and also that we didn't miss our chance. It doesn't matter. I go back to Peanuts, my childhood dog. It doesn't matter that I was a self-centered teenager when she passed, and I don't even remember her passing. I think back now that that little doggie, I would have just scooped her up now if I. So I go back to that, and it doesn't matter how much time has passed. I go back to that, and I can connect with her. I didn't miss my chance. She's still with me. All I need to do is tune into her. all I need to do is tune into her. And that's for all of you and all of your animal companions. They're asking us to pause and breathe and come to our senses. Come to our senses. And it's about these senses: eyes, ears, smell, touch, all these beautiful things that we can experience with them. So, what I suggest, I'm going to use Gypsy as an example. So, Gypsy has no, I'm getting ahead of myself. When we want to make a connection with animals, I'm talking about animals here in the physical. When we want to make a connection with animals, the best way to do it is to start perceiving the world from their point of view. So if I, like yesterday, there were geese and chickens and goats. I had somebody go sit with the goats and think about what it feels like. There were some mama goats there who had big, full udders full of. I mean, they for their little baby goats. What does it feel like to be that goat? What does it feel like to have fur? What does it feel like to be that close to the ground, to have your belly dragging on the ground? What does it feel like to have 90-degree heat when you have fur and the sun is shining on you and your little kids are hungry and you're just going, boy, it's hard to be a mom. That's one of the messages that came through with, boy, it's really hard to be a mom. Um, so you look at things from the perspective of your animal companion. So if it's a cat, what does the world look like from the top of the refrigerator? If it is a small dog, what does the world look like when a large dog comes near them? If it is a cat or a dog, or let's go with cat, what does it look like when a big person comes with their hands and tries to reach out to them? How does that feel? What does it look like to them? So look at things from their perspective, but use all of your senses. What do things taste like? What do things smell like? What do things sound like? Thunder. What does thunder sound like to a dog that makes the doggy afraid? Um, Consider all of those things from their perspective and not your perspective. And it helps you when you do that. They seem to sense that you are looking at them now as an individual, that you're seeing them as a unique being and not just the family dog. You're seeing them as from their things from their perspective, and they will respond in kind. And here's how they respond. If you think of their sense, the one sense that is the most predominant for them, and that's where the example of Gypsy comes in. And I see all the comments scrolling by. I'll check them out again in a minute. Gypsy has no eyes. She cannot see. So when I really want to connect with her, I think about what the world must be for her. What must it be like not to be able to see a thing? So she has to go outside and go potty and not see a thing. She has to navigate our whole home and not be able to see a thing. When she gets in the car, what does it feel like for random movement without being able to actually, so I'm doing it right now with, what does it feel like for random movement? I can feel car sick instantly. It makes me feel car sick. What's it like to be outside and not know if it's a big dog or a small dog that's approaching you? Um, so I try to visualize things from her perspective. And then her strongest sense is her sense of hearing. So I try to hear, what does it hear? I mean, what does it hear? What do I hear? Can I hear a little teeny crumb drop across the other side of the room? Can I hear a dog coming from a block away? She hears all kinds of things. And so I focus on that sense. When you do those things, so what I just did, I closed my eyes, visualize things from Gypsy's perspective, imagine putting myself in her body. What does that feel like? They'll tell you. She will tell me instantly what's on her mind. It's almost as if this connection, I always talk about the heart to heart connection, but it's like a soul to soul connection. And instantly she'll tell me what is on her mind. So you can get that from you can work with your animal companion too. Remember that I've shared the time that I sat Jack on the bed and just stared at him like, Jack, come on, tell me what's on your mind. And he's like, uh, I don't know what's expected of me. What am I supposed to do? Because I wasn't taking things from his perspective. It was all about my perspective. So when we kind of shift that perspective, we can get messages from our animal companions. So Think about all of your animals. What does your cat like to do? What does your dog like to do? What does your bearded dragon like to do? Does your snake like to bask on the basking table and in the whatever that might be? Think about their perspective before you begin, before you start to ask a question of them or to connect with them. And then what is their what is their favorite thing? Then you can just say, oh, I'd love for you to share with me something. Share with me anything, and they will share it. Notice what impressions come. It may not come as words, it may not come as thoughts, it may be a feeling, an impression, a sound. It can be any of those things that actually come through your senses. But trust whatever it is that comes through. And then, after you start to do this with any animal companion that presently shares your life, you can go back and do it with animals who have crossed to the other side. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. So I can go back with Jack or Winston. Let's go with Winston. Winston was this little tiny dog, shaggy hair all over him, hated to have his nails clipped. His eyes would bulge out if you tried to clip his nails. Hated to have his nails clipped. His mouth was a mess. He was a rescue, and there was he was not due to his congenital heart condition. He couldn't have any kind of anesthesia, so we could not do his dentals. So I can put myself in that perspective. Any animal companion who's ever shared your life, go back and think about them. Think about everything about them. Everything that you can possibly think of, from the way that their feet smelled to the way that to the way their fur matted, to anything, to the way that they scratched in the kitty litter. Everything that you can remember about them, you bring it to mind and place yourself in their body. You'll make a connection. You'll make a connection. They will share something with you. And I encourage you to try it as often as you can, because the first couple times you're going to be like, I don't know if that was real. I mean, how do I know that was real? Well, because if you feel it. And when you write it down, I've got my book my book's across the other side of the room. Um, you write it down, and then you go back and trust it. You go back and read it, and you'll feel if it feels right or if it feels made up. You'll know right away if it feels made up or if it feels right. But they're not going to let you make it up. They are going to give you information because they want you to connect with them. They want to connect with you as much as you want to connect with them, because together we are releasing this separation anxiety. There will be no more separation anxiety. I'm telling you, I feel this in my core now. This was not the message that I had even planned on. That if we can heal this kind of separation anxiety, our animal companions will not ever have to physically go through it again. And the only reason that they do go through separation anxiety is to help remind us that we need to get better connected, that we need to come back to ourselves. If we can just all live our best natural life, we are not meant to sit in a cubicle 8 hours a day staring at a computer doing something for the profit of a company that we have no real ties to. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. That's how I felt about my corporate job. And I had a beautiful little corner office. I shouldn't have to come here and look out the window and hope that I see a deer doggy, just by staring out my window. That I needed to be out in nature. So the moral of the story is, separation anxiety is something that is at the soul level right now. There are small baby steps that we can take to ease that separation anxiety. And as we do that, all other things will start to heal. Everything will start to heal. Go out and hug a tree. Please go out and hug a tree. Go talk to the trees. If that's not your thing, if there's a creek nearby you, anything that gets you back in connection with the natural world is what I would invite you to do. All right, I have one more thing that I want to share, but first I'm going to go through some comments. Typos. Oh, don't worry about typos. You feel like you're in a haze. Everything about you is a blur during intense grief. Yeah, so intense grief, when you are in a state of intense grief, sometimes it's best just to let it ride the wave of the grief. Ride the wave of the grief, and you can ask your animal companion, just even for a moment, to show you what it feels like, to remind you what relief feels like. If for just a moment you can get to a feeling of relief, then little by little that the grief will be replaced by relief, and then you'll begin to start to heal. I'm going to look at Dana's comment here. Make sure to hit the like button. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'd have to go back and see if there's any other comments about that. But yeah, I never say the things that you're supposed to say on a YouTube video, which is, if you like this video, please like and subscribe and share and all that. I just know that I just trust that you're gonna. Um, a great Freudian slip. The nuns would not be happy. Okay, we had to mention the nuns. Scout and Phoebe both with a separation anxiety. Okay, here we go. So Scout and Phoebe, kitty cats. I know those kitty cats. Separation anxiety, and is mirroring. Okay, thank you. Yep. Not like dogs do, but yeah, I think they do, but I just have not ever had a cat, so I'm not sure. Orange developed bladder stones. Okay, so there we go. Yep. Oh, Dana, I love that you guys call it a cattery. In the UK, they call it catteries too. I wasn't sure what somebody reached out to me to say. I left my kitty cat in a cattery. I'm like, what's a cattery? I got it. It's like a little boarding place, right? We all still have our human moments because we're humans. We're humans and we're here to experience this. And I'm loving this journey. For wherever it takes me, I'm just loving this journey. There's a good video on how animals see things. I'll have to find it. Okay, well, Kali, you can turn us on to that too. They modify the video at points so you can see what a voice sounds like from a dog's perspective. Oh, I would love to hear that. I would love to know what a human voice sounds like to all different animals. I get the sense that I should change my pitch from time to time, like when I'm talking to birds or when I'm approaching wildlife. I do talk to animals at the zoo. I feel like they respond to different pitches and different tones. I would love to. We were talking one night, and a bat literally flew over like this. I didn't even see the bat. Everybody else around me was like, but I think that it was the tone of my voice that drew in the bat. So anyway, I think that I would love to know what that sounds like. A small dog, I feel like she lives in the land of giants. Yep, Kathy, that's what I think. That's why sometimes Chihuahuas are so the way that Chihuahuas are, because they have to live in a land of giants, and it's the only way that they have in order. It's a survival mechanism for them. Been trying to connect with him to work together on a way to communicate with each other. You just start crying when you try to do anything regarding Mew Mew. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if it makes you feel like it's not time yet, then maybe it's not time yet, and perhaps you kind of let Mew Mew take over. Ask Mew Mew to be the one who tries to make the connections instead of you. Ask Mew Mew to take the first step and see because I think the other thing is that I've mentioned many times is that we are both on a journey, and our animal companions on the other side are now seeing how much we are connecting with them, and they are learning as much as we are how best to connect with us. Maybe Mew Mew can be the one who begins the connection. 83-year-old mother said, cuckoo, when I told her I spoke to this. That's funny. Yeah, I don't care. Oh, it's wackadoodle, cuckoo, whatever. A cat hotel, right? That's what. Yeah, right. We in the U.S. we call them. I can't think of it. Why can't I? Boarding. It's just boarding. Dog's process sounds slower, so imagine a slow down recording of your voice. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to have to try to find that video also. I bet you if I just Googled it, I could find it. Then I would encourage you. So now we have done, you can do this exercise with animals who are currently in your life. This might work for you, Cheryl. You could also do that exercise about putting yourself in their place and then asking them what they want to share with your animal companion on the other side. Or you can do it with wildlife. You can do it with wildlife. Now, yesterday I had them practicing with turkeys and geese and hens and goats. And I had them practicing what it was like to connect with him. You can do it with any animal at all. Put yourself in their shoes. This is how I learned this. I learned this from firsthand experience. I went to my very first animal Reiki class. This is when I knew that it was something. I went to my very first animal Reiki class. This was years ago. And we were assigned an animal to go make a connection with, to go share Reiki with. And it was down in Florida. And I was assigned an alligator. And some of you have heard this story. I was assigned an alligator. And I'm sitting outside this enclosure. I'm on a little stool, and the alligator has his pond, and he's actually in an enclosure. It was at a sanctuary. He was rescued from, I don't remember where. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I wanted the tiger. I didn't want an alligator. I would like to be sitting outside the tiger enclosure right now. So I sat down with the alligator. I closed my eyes. I did. So I just kind of went into this quiet space, thinking about what life must be like as an alligator and how was he ever going to connect with me. We have nothing in common. And then I got a sense of this pressure. Like I was wearing 10 lead vests, like the kind that you wear when you go to the dentist, right? And I felt myself being pressed into the ground, just pressed into the ground. It was very uncomfortable. I thought that I was hyperventilating. And then I had this weird taste in my mouth. I can't describe it. It was metallic and gross, and it was not a pleasant taste. And I didn't understand. I thought that I didn't know I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was meditating wrong. I thought I didn't know what I was doing. I thought that this was ridiculous. And I didn't realize how much time I'd spent there with my eyes closed. And my teacher came and touched me on the shoulder and said, it's time to be done. And I was kind of glad. When I explained to her what happened, she said to me, "Do you not understand what was happening?" Look, it's making me cry even now, all these years later. When I think of this alligator as my teacher, she said, "That alligator was showing you what it felt like to be that close to the earth. Can you imagine what it feels like to never be more than inches off the earth? He was pressing you down into the earth so that you could feel what it was like to be that close." And then the taste in your mouth, I mean, what does pond scum actually taste like? Well, I think I have an idea now of what it actually tastes like. And that opened my eyes more than anything else. That alligator taught me everything. In that brief experience, I got a total understanding of what it was to communicate with an animal. And from there on, it just went from, opened all the doors. That opened all the doors for me. So you can try this with any animal that you choose and see what kind of connection you get. Don't worry about the profound message, a message from the heavens that comes through this animal that awakens everything for you. Look for the connection. What is the connection that you're getting? And it can be an impression, a feeling, a sensation. And that's what you need to go with. So our pets, this is the last thing I'm going to close with. I see the time. We're going way off here. Our animal, every single animal has thoughts. Now, they're not the kind of organized thinking that humans have. Our brains are just a little bit different. It's a different kind of thought process. But every feeling, every emotion, every thought that an animal has goes out into the quantum field, just like us. Our thoughts, our emotions go out into the quantum field. And when we energize them, they're out there even stronger. But that's not where I was going with that. If your animal's feelings, thoughts, and impressions are in the field, you have access to it. You have access to it. And you can access that in the same way. So go through that same practice with animal companions crossed to the other side. We will just use, if I could use Sherry's Phoebe as an example. Sherry, you're Phoebe. Everything Phoebe ever thought, ever felt, anything, it's all been stored in the memory banks of the universe. That's what the quantum field is. That's what the Akashic records are. The quantum field is so much more, but part of the quantum field is a memory of everything that ever was, ever is, and ever will be. And when you place yourself in the sensation, so you are picturing Phoebe in your mind. You're feeling what it's like to be Phoebe. You're feeling as if you are Phoebe. You'll get the thoughts. You'll get the feelings. You'll get the emotions. You'll get the message. When you tune in this way, it's like turning the radio dial. You are turning the radio dial that matches her frequency. You are dialing the number on the cell phone that connects just to her. Look at that. Yeah, look at that little girl with sunglasses. You are you are connecting with the frequency that is her. And then you can receive any information that you want from her, anything at all. And you can do this with everything: trees, birds, the sky, water. You are so deeply connected to everything that you can receive these messages whenever you need it. Okay, and that is ESP. That's what ESP is. That was the last thing. Extrasensory perception. You all have ESP. Go out there and just begin to use it, and then your separation anxiety, it just will disappear. It will go away. Any of that soul level separation anxiety. All right, that was our little message for tonight. Let me go back over this. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. I love the alligators. ESP'd with a snake. Oh, Z, that is awesome. I think I might have forgot to say hello to Z. And I apologize if I did miss anybody saying hello. And what a cool story about the alligator. It's like one of the first hand stories. I have lots of them, but that was the very first one that opened my eyes to exactly how connected we all are to animals. Does anyone know who is a good YouTube creator for NDEs? Oh gosh, there are so many. I will see if I can find some names and I'll create a post. I will put a post in. Gosh, I just remembered. There's a brand new community tab. I haven't figured it out. I just activated it. There's a brand new community tab in YouTube. So channel members, you'll be the first ones who I connect with in the community once I figure out what it's meant to do. I mean, once I figure out how I'm supposed to use it. In the meantime, I'll do a post. There are some, oh boy, I can't even remember their names. There are some great NDE, not just YouTube people who do like interviews with NDEs, but there are some great books and some great people who talk about nothing. One of them was just on with Mayim Bialik's breakdown. I'll have to go back and find it. I will go back and find it and let you guys know. There are some great ones. Because I'm so fascinated with the NDE thing, near-death experience, for those who may not be familiar. Jeff Mara, okay. Yeah, believable ones. I will definitely post. There are some really good ones. Doctors are the ones who I like the most. Physicians who were so materialistic, and it was medical or it was nothing, and that there was the one doc that was the interview on Mayim Bialik, the breakdown. He said, I came from a family that we were told that this is the life, this is it. So enjoy it and do what you want to do. You want to be a doctor? Then we're going to get you through medical school. You're going to be a doctor. But when this life is over, it's it. And then he found he had his own experience, not personally, one of his patients with the NDE. And he became a studier of it and now has case study after case study after case study of near-death experiences. Okay. That's it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to spend Monday nights with you. And until next Monday, and thank you all, because I love how much you support each other and support this channel. And please share this with anybody who you do think would benefit from this kind of conversation. Until next week, may animals light your way. Take care, everybody.